Evening, everyone. Welcome back to our SPD. This is month number 2. For this second SPD, we're going to touch on a lesson from the book Legacy. The book is inspiring. It's going to serve as the foundation for a number of future OPDs. Recommend you pick up a copy if you haven't read it. While I'm reviewing my notes, it is clear that we will lightly touch on the book because we will then make a hard turn and talk about some movie quotes and get super philosophical. So, in the book Legacy, lesson 11 is about sacrifice. And the topic can be an uncomfortable conversation to have. Reading what's on the slide, pulled from the page in the book about giving your life to something seems a bit dramatic for our forum. Maybe, maybe not. We'll take a look. This SPD is not so much a lecture as a loosely constructed flow of thoughts meant to get us thinking and talking, perhaps a bit of a challenge, and will hopefully make for a good Thursday discussion. Before we get into the details, we should also clarify a point about the purpose of these SPDs. It was mentioned a few times in the last SPD that the points we discussed would be beneficial to all members of the Double Deuce. I agree, but the vision for our developmental programs is not the centralized execution of mentorship. A number of lessons can be packaged and released for mass consumption, our EPDs, OPDs, JPDs. However, some material needs to be processed by and passed through our levels of leadership. These SPDs are designed to make us better individually, but have the secondary effect of making us better leaders and mentors because the expectation is that we will use them to teach our people in our respective shops. Take ownership of the material and translate it to your work and your subordinates. Don't just point to the videos or readings provided and say, go watch that or go read that. That's the equivalent of being asked a flying question and responding, well, what does the reg say? Like the AFIs or flight manual, we can point to them, but then relate it to our own experience, talk about procedure as well as technique. Tell a story and make the knowledge applicable. Provide a why something is important. You are the bridge that makes the stuff come alive, especially for our very young people who keep hearing the buzzwords but don't have the life experience to know that they are true or how to apply them. When we talk about leadership, mentorship, growing people, this is what we mean. We can apply the lessons for ourselves but also pass them on to our people. This is our job, to help our people realize their potential using provided resources. This is one of those resources. As the All Blacks would say, leaders create leaders. Our job is to grow our replacements, and may they be better than we ever were. Back at it. Very simply put, and repeated in this chapter of the book, is that champions do extra. Why is this a mantra? Why is this so powerful? It's because we have a minimum. We have a standard. It is so easy to fall into the trap that the minimum is good enough. This is the great differentiator. If you truly believe that the minimum is good enough, you're not wrong. After all, why else would it be the minimum if it weren't good enough? It is good enough to keep people employed, to just get by. I would posit that an organization that wants to go beyond, to reach its potential, to excel, cannot be satisfied with the minimum. The organization, though, is comprised of individuals, and to excel needs individuals willing to go beyond. And this leads to a question for you. This is where we go from training and equipping to meet the mission to leadership that transcends. This is where we need to have a conversation with ourselves and decide if we are okay with the minimum, meeting the 9 to 5. and honestly a little less at times, but a little more if you count for aircrew duties. I've been around for a minute, and I get it. We all have our scars. Missed births, missed holidays, missed funerals, missed birthdays, lost opportunities, time wasted in seemingly superfluous or redundant taskings, flying around empty, breaking for 3 weeks, unable to get released, repeated deployments, tinnitus, back issues, and perpetually decreasing support. So why do extra? Maybe it's a personal thing. You simply cannot not give it your all. Maybe it's about the who in this case, not so much the why. Tying a particular mission to a strategic objective may be murky, but your student is learning so much, and you love your crew. Or maybe you don't. You've done your time, given your pound of flesh, and the minimum will have to do. A question. Are you willing to go all in? To push yourself regularly? To lead, execute, perform, and sacrifice for others? You may wonder, what's in it for you? Why stick your neck out? Why do extra if the minimum's good enough? Haven't you sacrificed enough? Maybe. But considering the breadth of time that our service and organization has endured, I would say that we can give more. We can do more. We can be more. Not necessarily for the Air Force, but because it's what we're meant to do as humans, to innovate, to achieve. We often find fulfillment in service and performance and helping others do the same. This line of thinking got me remembering some quotes, like Lombardi's victorious lying exhausted on the field, or Theodore Roosevelt's man in the arena. I think about work and flying, pretty much that 1/3 or more of adult life. And I get scared. Not scared like a punk, but fearful that I might waste that time, that I'll miss out on something to make myself better, that I'm just throwing away life. Now, those who see me know that I'm not hammering away at the computer all day, every day. But it's not about that either. There's building relationships, there's the mentoring, there's the BS sessions, as well as the impactful meetings. If you find a way to make all facets of your life meaningful to you, then all of your pursuits are worthy of your effort and attention. We reference perfection occasionally and how it is unattainable, which is a device to keep us striving. A little insider trick, it's okay to contradict yourself sometimes, like I'm about to do. In Friday Night Lights, Billy Bob Thornton talks to his team about being perfect. And he says, to me, being perfect is not about that scoreboard out there. It's not about winning. It's about you and your relationship to yourself and your family and your friends. Being perfect is about being able to look your friends in the eye and know that you didn't let them down because you told them the truth. And that truth is that you did everything that you could. There wasn't one more thing that you could have done. Can you live in that moment as best you can, with clear eyes and love in your heart, with joy in your heart? If you can do that, gentlemen, then you're perfect. Man, that gets me. As much as we talk about perfection, maybe this version is unattainable as well, but both, I believe, are worthwhile goals. Speaking job-wise, all of us here have had a bit of success, whether it's manifest in rank, position, rating, or some other form. I've spoken to the officers about the arrival fallacy, that if you believe happiness is elsewhere, you will never reach it because happiness is not in the future, it can only exist in the present. I haven't talked about another trap, where you believe you've arrived and then you stop. You stop growing, stop trying, stop caring, settle for the minimum. This is how complacency is not only bred but propagated, because it is inevitably emulated by others watching their leadership cease to grow. Airmen become salty by association. Lieutenants are cynical about things they've never actually seen. The natural order of things is perpetual growth. You see it in everything from the smallest seed to the universe itself. So for us, when does it stop? When do we get to take a break? Never. Retirement, maybe. Death. So what do? Well, we use our mindset to harvest joy from all aspects of our lives. We recharge during leave and time with our families, or even at work events. We find harmony with all aspects of our life. Help them grow. And this is the key to a life well lived. I know I laid a lot on you. We didn't talk as much about the book as I wanted to, but I think we got enough material for a pretty decent Thursday discussion. So when we talk on Thursday, let's just hear your thoughts on the minimum, what it means, on your views on balancing work or harmonizing work with family life or other things that you find enjoyable. Can you mesh those two? Can you find work enjoyable? How do we pass these lessons on to our subordinates? These are all things I'd like to touch on, and it's going to be an open-ended discussion. So be ready to talk, because I don't want to do the talking. That's all I got. I appreciate you listening. If you have ideas for future SPDs, I think I plan on doing these once a month. So I want to make them impactful and worth your time. Thanks again, and we'll see you on Thursday. Have a good one.